Good evening, Libras, Mr. and Miss Libras. Welcome to Kiki's Doorway. Let's see what your past life wants you to re-look at for July 18th to July 25th, 2018. I see last week you tapped into your biblical side of self and understand your connection to source and how that influences your life purpose or just simply how you engage in life. So let's see and let's deepen that understanding. God, Gaia, God, Goddess, Mother, Father. Yeah, you Libras, you just like Scorpios. I see why I made Scorpios first. Started off. I felt y'all seem to know what y'all really need to be doing. Alrighty then. What actions will Scorpios take? Ooh. Said Scorpios. Libras, what actions will you take? What action will you take for July 18th to July 25th? What action will be taken? Okay, let's see. The past life wants you to know that yes, you have tapped into the biblical side of yourself, because your past life wants you to know that you're connected to the Father, to Source, which help you to understand the actions of man when it comes to biological father, or the role of a father, or who we take up as a father figure in our lives or in a person's lives, right? I was going to tell Sagittarius this, because I seen last week they had to tap into their masculine side by talking to their father. And like I was telling you guys from the beginning, I don't just read these cards just to read them, or I enjoy that. However, everything I put down on this table, I try my best to walk in that life with you guys so I could better understand where you might come from. Yes, I might not be a Libra. However, at moments, like any other human beings, don't we have to weigh the scales on a daily basis to understand what emotions to take based on the actions that is put in front of us, or that sometimes we manifest in ourselves? I was telling Sagittarius last week that Father is, yes, masculine energy, but it has the word her in it. In order for a man to understand the makeups of himself, it has to engage in the feminine aspect of another, or the opposite sex. Even in this picture, to create this small hand to touch this big hand, it had to have a feminine energy to create and get acceptance from Source, from the ethers, from your ancestors, to procreate. And with that, at times, outside looking in, us being the child with the hand, we might look at a situation on the pros and cons, right? But if we was to ask, when we have the maturity and personal experience to say, I now can ask questions to my father, then you would get a deeper answer to why even the negative things that had to be shown needed to be shown, because no one's perfect. Yet how we get that statement is through first our first encounter, which is our mother and father, or a person that we see as a father figure. I technically have 3 fathers. And you like, what? I can explain. My brother's father, I felt, was and is my father, because he raised us from the time I could remember, when I was young, to 4 years old. So my first interaction with a male besides my grandfather was really with their father, which is in truth to me my father. And yes, being the oldest, I had to see things that were not good and good in a father or in a male figure. And at times, I didn't understand men based on my experience in being the outside looking in, being the child looking at the adult, thinking that the adults would know the answer, the adults would know what to do in any given situation. But now, being an adult, I see that that is really not true. It is sometimes a winged situation. Sometimes it's you kind of know what you have to do, but the steps to take it, sometimes it's not clear, because you do not just have yourself in mind. You have the opposite sex, and you have a child in mind to think about and to become responsible in that manner. The second, who I consider a father figure to me, or my father, he passed on like my mother, but he was in my life from 5 to 9. So he taught me how to fish, and my brothers how to fish. He taught us how to have pride in ourselves, how to value the home, how to respect each other when we walk out the home. He taught us how to make a small business and the steps of hard work. He was about the community. He was actually a cop. He was sick. He also had HIV from his wife. But how my mother and them got together in that neutral of illness showed me that, again, another male figure that is not my biological father. However, he is a father figure to me. He taught me that not all masculine energies are negative. You have to watch, listen, and at times walk in their life a little bit to see if they are who they say they are. And if they're not, try your best not to hold them accountable, but see if it's what level of attention do you want to give this person. These are the things that I had learned from him, and how to love the natural side of myself, the natural beauty of myself as a female, and to see natural beauty in a man as well. My biological father I met at 9, and to this day I'm growing to have a relationship with him, and I asked him questions to help me understand who he is. And he had to make a decision. He was young when he had me. He had me at 17? And as much as he wanted to have marriage, if my mother did not make that decision to not pursue commitment, then he would have never known the fundamentals of what it would really take to have a marriage. And he's older now, and he's starting to see what my mom felt and knew when they were young and in love and together while having me. I also had to admit my grandfather. He was a father figure to me. He taught me how to sew, how to iron clothes, how to have the value in cleaning and cooking for yourself. He showed me how to balance a checkbook, how to add money and to see it flourish in a checking account, and how to separate finances and need be to survive. Even my uncle. My uncle showed me basic arithmetic, how to apply numbers to everyday life, to finance, to time, how to distance yourself if you got to go to an interview or a gig or to perform, how long does it take. He gave me structure. So what I'm trying to say to you, Mr. and Miss Libras, is you have always been connected to Father. Now it's time to show people your understanding of Source, your understanding of Father. If it's time for you to talk to your Father, things that you might want to delve into that maybe your father don't even know that you know. I can tell you, when I talk to my fathers, the ones that are alive, my biological father and my brother's father, they were shocked to hear what I remembered because it was so long ago. But not even that, but the detail of their impact on my life made them feel honored yet sad that that's what I did remember. But in a way, I was able to have them understand that I forgave those situations and I seen it as a blessing in disguise. I didn't have to physically go through it. I was able to see someone that I care about, yes, go through it, to teach me not to do it myself, or to help others if I see those signals, to give them nuggets of wisdom if need be. So let's see what Dorian Virtue says about Father for you. This card indicates that your father in this life was with you in your prior lifetimes. An issue you've had with your father likely began long ago. Look at the cards that you drew prior to and after this card, as they will yield clues about the previous lives that you two shared. Remember, last week you had biblical, so this does match. It does also connect you to Source. If you had a disharmony with your biological or a father figure that you see in your waking or daily life right now, then that could also interpret your view of God in your sight, in your way. Is no wrong way of communicating to Source. The way to really feel that is by talking to your Father on this earth. He may not have been your father in those lives, though, as souls continue to reincarnate together in different roles. Maybe he was your mother, maybe he was your uncle, maybe he was your aunt, maybe he was your grandfather, uncle, cousin. To break any negative patterns with your father's soul, be willing to release old anger or unforgiveness. This can be conscious or unconscious emotional energy stored in your psyche. Just your willingness to clear toxic relationships or relationship energy is enough to initiate the healing process. Remember that forgiveness doesn't mean that you approve of this person's actions. It simply means that you are no longer willing to carry around anger energy. By releasing the past, you subsequently heal your present and future. If you totally forgive your father and yourself, you no longer have to reincarnate with that soul, unless you choose to. Retain only the lessons, growth, and love you shared. As an added benefit, the healing work that you do with your father helps all other relationships you have with men. Whether it be men Libras, oh my God, male Libras, you're going to have to use your intuition on this. Male Libras or female Libras, you have to talk to the father in your waking life right now. This will help you in what you feel the lack of, or the direction you need to go, or what your life purpose is, or the romance that you really want to have with the opposite sex or with the same sex. In order for you to really, truly, unconditionally love, you have to really talk to your father. It might be uncomfortable, but guess what? They're uncomfortable too, because they are still living. They're still walking with you. Okay? So know that you're not alone in the conversation when you do have that conversation. Let's see what actions you will take, Mr. Mrs Libra. I can do this. What gotta fit? You're gonna spark the flame. Spark a little flame, a kindle, a little simmer of fire, a little simmer of passion when you go towards your father, and knowing more about yourself by knowing your father. So when you do that, be outgoing, be creative in your approach. Try not to be so level-headed. Add a little humor and creativity to it. How would you want someone to approach you in a light-hearted situation, even though it's a heavy topic? Be confident and a little bit mischievous. Like, you know they can't dodge your answer because you need to know some answers to know yourself. And if they love you like they say they love you, and you know they love you, then they're going to answer any questions you're going to ask. So if you kind of got to have that energy, I was having that mischievous kind of vibe when saying that. Be that. Not all the way. I said spark now, a little spark. A little spark, not a flame. Spark, which will turn into a nice flame. News of an exciting new endeavor. Use your originality and ingenuity. Unity of that father principle. Once you have those conversations, they will spark that idea, that fuse, that nourishment you needed to go after the next adventure in your life. So Mr. and Miss Libras, you got this. Connect to Father. When you connect to Father, it will spark that fire you need to go towards your life purpose, to go towards that relationship you yearned for, to go towards those relationships with friends and family that you always known will be connected through Source, God and Goddess, God Gaia, or whatever name you want to represent the Father principle. I love you. I love you, Libras. And we will see you on the other side.